These days, Twitter is an absolutely miserable place to be. That's the way people like it who live on Twitter, and myself included, although I don't like the misery part of it. I try to stay away from some of the more crazy controversies of the day, but it seems to me that the people who like to be miserable and to drag people into their miseries with them have a very strong audience with their fellow Twitterers who will find every little thing to be annoyed by, ashamed by, upset by, decry, all those kinds of things. Twitter is there to make you miserable. And I'm not even talking about politics, I'm just talking about comic books here, although it works in both cases. But here's the thing on the comic book side of things that I don't think enough people think of or consider, whether they're someone like me who, kind of writes about this stuff, the comics pundit kind of person, or if we're just talking about, random fans who are talking across the internet to each other or at each other sometimes. Or even when you see fans at comic book conventions asking questions at the ends of panels, which is usually an awesome and horrible thing all at the same time. Emphasis on horrible. Did I say awesome? I probably meant awful there. We don't know what we don't know. That's the unfortunate truth of the thing. We don't know half of what we think we know. We know things that become conventional wisdom because we thought it to be so. We make suggestions, we take guesses, they seem logical, and that's what we believe. And then those beliefs get repeated often enough that it becomes, again, the conventional wisdom. And the conventional wisdom becomes the thing that you don't want to break. That is just the way it is, right? But we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We don't know which creator is falling on a particular sword, or perhaps they're just defending their friend, the editor, or the other creator. And it could all be for very good reasons. We just don't know. I mean, we assume a lot of things that go on at the offices, especially when we're talking about Marvel and DC. I mean, it is true. I don't think anyone sets out to make bad comic books. It happens, but I don't think it's something they're all setting out to do. I don't think it happens on purpose. And yes, there's all sorts of ways that they could make them better, even procedurally. And I have plenty of suggestions, don't worry, and I'll get into those, I'm sure, someday too. But it just dawns on me that a lot of people speak with a knowledge and a wisdom that they don't have. They think they have, because they've read some things that other people have written on the internet, often in 140 characters or less chunks. If they've talked to creators and talked to people behind the scenes at any length over the past number of years, they might have a different picture of things. They might know that, okay, let's take this for example. You may work in an office. You may have a 9-to-5 job. I know I do. And I'm there 40 hours a week, and there's a lot of people around me doing lots of work, and many of them try and do the best job they can. And not all the times does a good job actually happen in the end. And sometimes it's for difficult reasons, sometimes it's for easy reasons, sometimes it's for reasons I will never know, and I will never ask because it's none of my business. I'll just deal with the outcomes of it that I have to do as best as I can. But I don't go on Twitter and start decrying one person or another for their mistake that they made. You've experienced this yourself, probably at a lower level in your own life. You've seen this happen in person. You've heard people talk poorly about someone at work that you may like, and you wonder why these two people you like don't get along together. And why this person thinks something wrong of this person, and this person doesn't even know this person is thinking it. It's all this corporate politics stuff, right? That happens behind the scenes in comic books too. What makes you think it is any different there at all? It doesn't always spill out onto Twitter and Facebook and interviews on the major websites and stuff, because generally speaking, people don't air their dirty laundry. They don't want to. And in the case of an industry like comic books, it's a small group. You don't want to be that guy or that woman who is always, breaking sort of, not NDAs, but breaking, what we agree to keep private or what we agree to keep behind the scenes, that kind of stuff. This stuff just happens. And so next time you're going on Twitter and complaining about, creator A being a jerk because you absolutely know that he doesn't get along with creator B, and furthermore, he's probably a blah, blah, blah-ist jerk. Just think about it for a second. Think about, that guy that sits down the hall from you who you know nothing about. You don't even know what job he does, maybe. Do you speak ill of him? No, because you just don't even know what he does. But he's doing his work and you're doing yours, and that's the way the world works. And not everything is fodder for the gossip mill. And when it does come out in the gossip mill, often people don't want to respond to it because they don't want to drag it out. B, they don't want to lend any credence to it. C, they don't want to get, caught in this quicksand or this mudstorm that becomes of things when that happens. We just have to live with the fact that we're not going to know everything. And that's okay. We don't necessarily need to know everything. It's fun to speculate sometimes. Wildly so in many cases. I can come up with all sorts of hypotheticals for things. I even know some things that happened behind the scenes that I haven't heard reported even on the gossip websites, but would possibly blow your mind. And I don't say that, as a, I know something you don't know, haha. I just mean this stuff happens. And that's the way it is. And we don't always know. And we may not ever know. Maybe we'll know at some point if someone writes an autobiography or a book of some sort. Maybe. Maybe it'll be in a Tomorrow's book 20 years from now when we have the career-length interview with someone. That's really, honestly, where most of this stuff comes out. And at that point, it's so old we don't care anymore. It'll be interesting to see in 20 years from now when we look back at some of the trickier conversations maybe that we've had in the last couple of years across the internet. It'll be interesting to see if people talk about that more openly in 20 years when it's less likely to affect or impact their careers or their friends' careers, that kind of stuff. When people get out of the industry and are more open to talk about it, all those kinds of things, some things will come out, but not all of them. And that's okay. Because what counts in the end is the comic books. If the comic books aren't good, you can claim whatever, back office shenanigans you want. The comic book's not good, don't buy it. That'll end the comic book. If that happens enough, it ends the company. Well, maybe not Marvel and DC, but all those things are true. In the end, and this is a whole other topic of conversation, we just want good comics, and you should just buy good comics. And that's it. Let the rest be. Let the rest happen. We don't need to find new things to talk about 24 friggin' hours a day. I only do 5 or 10 minutes of video a day here, apparently, and write a few thousand words. I've got plenty of material just in reviewing the good stuff I like to read. And in the end, isn't that what we're all here for, reading the good stuff? Speaking of which, look what came. The Tellus tribute to Michael Ringo. It's out now. If you had ordered it on the website, it wasn't a GoFundMe campaign, but if you had ordered on the website, it's out now, and it's beautiful. It's got lots of good stuff on there. There's Mike's picture on the back. It's his birthday, I think, this week. And I'm reading it now. I'm only about 20 or 30 pages in, so I'll let you know when I get the rest of the way through it. But that's Tellus. So, aside from that little sidebar, think before you tweet. That's all I'm asking. Because you don't always know what you don't know. For more, mostly reviews, you want to go to pipelinecomics.com to read it all, and please tell all your friends. Buy a shirt, support the Patreon campaign. It's all there on the website. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm Augie the Bleak, and I'm tired of talking.